It's my pleasure to introduce our next speakers. So Dave Clarke is basically from Synaptica. He's the man that leads the company there. So he will probably give us another story there. So Dave, I guess it's all for you. Take it away.
Thank you, Jean-Claude. I should be on Lavia.
I'm not.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you, Jean-Claude. Dave Snowden, one of the most insightful that I've listened to of your talks. Just bear with me a minute. I need to adjust my screen. Wow, this is so much better than Zoom. Glad to be back in person. So I'm going to give a little plug here to a keynote that is tomorrow, which will be moderated by Patrick Lamb. I'll be joining the panel for that, and my content recommendation engine told me that if you like this talk, you may also like tomorrow's opening keynote, so hope to see you there too. I want to give you 3 takeaways today in my short 15 minutes. So the first takeaway is to talk about the differences between data science and information science. The second takeaway is to tell you about what I do, what Synaptica does in developing tools to bridge these disciplines. And the third thing is to have a look at what successful collaboration looks like. So takeaway 1, information science versus data science. What's the difference, basically? Thank you, Jimmy Wales. The opening paragraphs from Wikipedia on these 2 topics really give the key points that I would want to address anyway. So information science comes out of a library background, fairly academic. It's to do with classification and retrieval of information. And a mechanism for doing that is taxonomy and knowledge organization systems. It also touches upon the organizational aspects, which is really the boundary, crossover boundary, to the knowledge management and the human aspects of that with KM. Now let's look at data science. Important first point, not to be confused with information science. It is about the extraction of information, often from noisy data sources. It is very much math and statistics based. It can use, doesn't have to, but it can use big knowledge graphs like Wikidata. And one of the attributes here is worth noting. IT is driving the changing landscape. There are things that we can do now that we could not do 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Let me try and summarize that into one spot. Information science is human curated. It is a top-down description. It is human readable, and it defines knowledge. Compare and contrast. Data science. It's computational. It's a bottom-up extraction of knowledge. It is machine readable. And it infers new knowledge. These 2 things look very different. I've got some little people up above them because there are people who work to do these things. And this theme is about collaboration. Put a little bit more labeling on that. We're talking about collaboration between content and metadata managers, between taxonomists and ontologists, data scientists, and information architects on the other side of things. And here we're really dealing with content, with knowledge organization, with machine learning, with analytics, and with how we make all this stuff discoverable and searchable. We move on to takeaway 2. So takeaway 2 is, how does my company help these stakeholders? Well, we develop tools to help knowledge workers, in short. The elevator pitch for what Synaptica does is we help people to organize, categorize, and discover enterprise knowledge. We've been doing this for over 25 years. Let me tag these for you. Knowledge organization is about taxonomy, and it's about ontology. Categorization is about text analytics and classification. And discovery is search, navigation, and content recommendations, the serendipitous discoveries that Dave was talking about. We've been doing this since 1995, and the landscape has changed very much for us. So we are, effectively, we're a horizontal solution for various vertical knowledge domains. We started out with a client base that was very heavily in publishing and big media, because they were one of the few enterprises that had very large amounts of data to deal with, very large amounts of content to process. So the big academic publishing houses were our first clients. They're still our clients. And over time, we took on a more diverse kind of client base. I've got enterprise content in the middle because today, everybody, whatever your business is, you're dealing with very large amounts of data and content. And so the principles out of library and information science that were only adopted by the publishing houses are now used by pretty much every business. And our marketplace and our client base diversified as well. There's really been a second wave because we have been moving from just dealing with information science people as our client base to dealing with people who are information science background and data science background. And some of this is reflected in some of the changing verticals that we now support. So people like video game makers, people who are managing social media tools, and people developing apps like how you get food, where you book your next room, and fashion. So our client base is no longer content as documents and publications. It's a data that is flowing through applications. So Synaptica, 25 years in information science, taxonomy. This is our base. We have partnered with a company, Ontotext. I'm really pleased to say they've got a booth in the showcase, so go check them out. I think this is their first year at KM World. They have a 20-year history in data science, in RDF graph databases, in NLP text analytics. We have come together and created a blend of their technology and our technology. We call this Graphite Knowledge Studio. We're releasing it now, and this is basically a tooling that brings together all of the kind of the data science and information science tooling under one umbrella. It's our stuff, it's Ontotext stuff, and I just love working with the Ontotext guys, incredibly bright people. So as a kind of, these are some of the workflows that we are trying to bring under one skin so that we can promote greater collaboration between the disparate teams that might otherwise live in a bit of a vacuum. So everything from designing the ontology schema, this is mapping out the organization at a very conceptual level, to curating taxonomies that populate that schema or those schema with the instances of named entities, concepts, people, places, organizations. All the named stuff is the taxonomy, and it lives in the schema of the ontology. And then we need to be able to support the curation of categorization rules, be they explicit, be they ML. They're rules that help the categorization process. Bring this stuff into a graph, bring it into a knowledge graph, and connect it to content. There's things for a corporeal evaluation and everything else here. I'm going to very briskly walk through some slides. You won't have time to absorb this, but come see us if any of this is of interest. We'll be at the booth this week. So screen here is basically managing concepts, both graph-based relationships, traditional taxonomy relationships. This is what the information science people have always been doing. But also, we need to be able to look at corpora. We need to be able to look at documents. We need to be able to build corpora sets and manage them. So that's an important aspect of unifying these different disciplines. We need to be able to do analytics over that. So ways to view and dissect these data sets is a very important part of the overall process. Being able to take a deep dive. So here is a document. It's a news article. We can highlight all sorts of things that are found through the text analytics in that document. We can then select things. We can highlight all the related stuff. How did I get to a high-level abstraction of what this document is about? Point me to the evidence that you found in this document. And this is part of the curation of your rules, the quality check, if you like, the human in the loop that is an essential part of getting this right. And most importantly is the ability to switch between that kind of text analytics deep dive. I want the corpora view, I want the analytics, I want to look at a particular thing and understand how I got there. And then go back into the taxonomy system and say, you know, you didn't get that quite right. Let's look at the rules. Let's look at the semantics of our knowledge model and tweak it and go back and see how this is working out now. Takeaway 3. What does successful collaboration look like? I think it's going to generate new knowledge out of the knowledge that you already started with. I think it's going to speed up the process through automation, and it's going to give you customer relevance. Now, there is absolutely nothing I could have prepared for to give you a better success story than something that came into my desk last week from one of our customers. So DoorDash, web food delivery app. These are one of our customers at the sort of new end of our company's life journey. And this is a published article, so when these slide decks hit the KM World thing, you can click on that link and go to the full text. But this article really, I couldn't have said anything better. So I'm going to actually read some of the yellow highlights, and then I come to the end of my talk. So they built a pipeline with graphite that can automatically handle tens of thousands of raw data points a day and distill them down into 50 things that a taxonomist needs to look at. So this is machine learning and analytics and a data science team creating processes to make life manageable for the human taxonomist. It provides ML team with single source of truth tables for taxonomy versions that they can easily consume and train and refine the models that they use. Second two bullets here are really the punch of this. They've eliminated hours of manpower per week with this effort and replaced repetitive, but more importantly, error-prone processes, manual processes, with automated processes that are more reliable. And the end paragraph. Our taxonomy team, I'm going to insert collaborating, and our ML team can focus on their own dedicated areas and improve the user experience and meet consumers' needs with ease and convenience. So I want to thank Chi-Yang Chang, who wrote this article from the DoorDash Knowledge Engineering team. Fantastic. And lastly, I want to thank you, KM World, for hearing me out.